We're in Calum Barkham. Okay, we're gaming. Character creation. Okay, character creation. Hi Malk, welcome in. Welcome in. So big news, I decided not to move to the Philippines. I need to start my previews. Previews, get the viewer count up. We're just making our character. I got really homesick before I even left, and I felt like I was making a mistake. But also I feel like I made a mistake because living in America is still living in America. Leg thickness. I'm kind of fat, so. Neck length. That is too long. That's too long of a neck. Chest size. Some titties. But it's okay. I've been interviewing for jobs. I'm getting a job soon. I'm like white, but kind of yellow. Like that seems good. Kind of like pale yellow. Vitiligo, I do not have. Freckles. Okay, I'm giving myself freckles. Face type. The color is too... in the summer, I'm a little more brown, though. Too brown. There we go. Yeah, I didn't want to say goodbye to everything that I had here and all the people that I know. That seems right. Let's go, Malk. I'm happy for you. Age 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just make myself a little older. Head details, jaw width. Make the jaw a little lighter. We can make it higher. Depth. Chin width. The chin is like the crimson chin. Okay, that's better. Cheek fullness. Just give it full. Cheekbone depth. Seems good. Where was I? Eye color. We'll do black. Brown. I kind of like that shade of brown. Sclera tint. It can be a little gray. Yeah, I got some job interviews lined up. They seem hopeful. Iris size, big eyes, dog eyes, cat eyes. I don't need to mess with that. Nose details. The nose is okay. It could be a little thinner. A little smaller, maybe. I'm glad you still have your subscription. I do use that dancing emote a lot, too. This is a new game. It gave me so much trouble when I was setting it up. First off, nothing I tried like drivers, Windows Update, skin redness, skin dark circles. Give me... Wait, why are the dark circles like on his eyebrows as well? Give me... I honestly like having long hair in video games, but just because in real life my hair gets really greasy and really curly. I mean, not that curly, but it curls a little. But it gets super greasy, and I don't like to have long hair in real life. Eyebrow style. These are crazy. Eyebrow color. Eyebrow details. I don't want to deal with anything that has to do with height, angle. It's fine. The face is alright. Honestly. The beard could be... I also like giving myself a full beard. Because I can't grow one in real life. It doesn't really look like me. I'd have to adjust the finer points. That's kind of cool. Let's like make them mostly dark. Head scar. No, we're good. Eye makeup, eyeshadow. I feel like we have to have eyeshadow. Eyeshadow color, eyeshadow. Those are kind of freaky. But I kind of like it. That's okay. Okay. That's good enough for me. Luigi's apartment. So I was able to refund the majority of my plane ticket, but what is this? Unlock research menu until certain steps. Advanced survival. Yeah, unlock it. Don't restrict me. Except this character, yes. They did charge me $300 for the refund, but it's guaranteed refund rather than trying to charge them back and it might not go through. It was so I still got some money in the bank. I bought a new car, but it's kind of a piece of shit. It's gonna get me to work though for the next however long I have to work. Where was I born? Dialogue trait and unique emote. Cultured, honorable. I want to be honorable. I like to roleplay as a good person.
World of water, home world of the Atreides. The order of the Imperium is rooted in the Farfreluches.
Bondsman. Nobility.
Every man in his place.
Bondsman? Isn't that like somebody who sells stuff? I'll be a peon. I'll be a vast peasant labor force.
You've risen above your station. Most peons go their entire lives without seeing the inside of a starship.
No, it's like yeah, it's an okay car. I can't take the highway in it.
One of the schools. Who was your
But I usually avoid the highway anyway. Do I want to be a Bene Gesserit? Thank you, Berserker, for the lurk. Thank you, thank you. Hope you're doing alright. A Mentat. Recon and strategy. Offense and demolition. Swordmaster. I am not... Well, I guess Paul Atreides is a Bene Gesserit, but he's not a woman. Not a female. I'll be a Mentat. Recon and strategy.
You must have been very young. The mind must be prepared or the training does not take. The test is almost complete.
I'm good.
Have you spoken truth? Come here.
She used the voice on me.
Put your hand in the box.
It looks a little like me, maybe just like a tiny bit.
I hold at your neck the Gomjabar.
The Gomjabar.
A high-handed enemy. Don't pull away or you will die. Great plots are afoot in the Imperium, and the currents of intrigue run deeply. Arrakis is the key, and the Fremen...
I'm gonna eat my Pop-Tarts.
to Arrakis as our agent, prisoner. You have one task. Find the Fremen. Wake the sleeper. Everything depends on this. Do you understand? Good. You speak truth. But here is the rest of it. There is only one rule. Keep your hand in the box and live. Withdraw it and die. An animal would gnaw off its own hand to escape the pain. And we can only be served by humans. Find the Fremen. Wake the sleeper. You will know when it is done.
Okay, I'm done with my Pop-Tarts. Hopefully I can increase the size of the captions. Arrakis. Is it too quiet? It might be a little too quiet. I turned it up a little bit. It might get loud when the gunshots go off, and I'll have to keep an eye out. And maybe that is too loud. Get him. I heard the tutorial for this was a pretty long tutorial. We'll see. There's lots of cutscenes. He wants a dab.
Just an off-world. No, not the
Al-Shaid Akadim.
No, Arista said it was just a dream. I agree, but she is almost Sayadina.
Rise and shine. So what, they just left me in a cave? Okay, let's see how this controls. WSD. Let's see. We're in the game now. Let's see. Display. Chat bubbles. I don't see accessibility. Subtitles on. Font size large. Apply. What was the other one? The sensitivity is too low. What is this? What am I looking at? Sensitivity, please. Mouse camera sensitivity. Turn that up. They always keep it low for controller, I think. I think that's what I believed, is that the controllers existing made people set sensitivity too low in general. So I always have to turn mine up, but also I played a lot of FPS. Let's see. Frem kit. Crafting. B to open the crafting menu. Craft. Okay, now I've got a knife. Attack with the left stick. Sorry, the left mouse button. You're dehydrated. These plants I can drink from. Hold E. They're dew. It's dew plants. Dew flowers. It looks good so far. I just put it on auto settings. I didn't mess with it too much. Micro sandwich fabric. Did I just take damage? Harvest plant fiber. I think I just took damage because I fell. How am I today? I'm good. How are you? Yesterday I was super tired. I made a new friend. I streamed a little bit of it. But we played Monster Hunter Wilds for like 4 hours. I met them on Tumblr. And then I had to go to the grocery store, and I'd also had interviews yesterday as well. Well, yo. Then my stepmom cooked some nice chicken, which was nice. I'd also got EBT for the month. They were like trying not to give it to me because red tape and all that, but they did end up giving it to me, and that's like $300 of groceries.
So then, you're not quite dead. Now you will know a thing that few but the Fremen have seen. For many, the last thing they saw before they were slaughtered.
It's a pretty sick cutscene.
Speak of our escape. Twin comets in the sky,
Oh.
a rebirth from fire and death, and a Sardaukar net closing around us. Your survival heralds interesting times, Offworlder.
You mentioned escape. How did we come to crash? I must find the
I
Fremen.
found them, Offworlder. They stood watch over you while you slept. When the Sardaukar began their jihad, they hounded us across the desert.
Are you
I'm not
Fremen?
Fremen, Offworlder. Though I have been fortunate to know them. and to share their water and their customs. Some of my people were caught out by a passing wing of Sardaukar-thopters. All they could do was take refuge in the cave and be ready for the assault to come. The assault never came.
What happened?
Used ancient weapons to collapse the cave entrance.
Your people were
With damaged
trapped?
steel suits and dwindling supplies. We toiled for days to free them, and all the while we could hear their death chants. Red
So the Fremen are dead.
dusky sky. Bloody death, didst thou die. An auspicious place for your rebirth, Offworlder. Whatever black fate awaited you in the Harkonnen slave pits waits for you no more. You are free from the bonds of servitude, free to pursue a new destiny.
You mentioned
There's a way
escape.
through the barricade, if you do as I say.
Tell me what to
Meet
do.
One of their ornithopters. That's where you come in. If you can slip back onto the Proteus and locate the command module, you can activate the captain's personal emergency transmitter. He's a noble. They're not allowed to let him die. Leave the rest to me.
Enter the ship, find the captain, activate the
Take
transmitter.
this Internet transceiver. It's essential for planetary communication. Now go.
Okay. Branch, shift, sunstroke, spending time in the
The
sun.
heat of the sun is deadly to the unprepared.
Stick to the shadows.
The guards have sealed themselves inside. Search the prisoners for a cut array. And Offworlder, be careful.
Take all, eat. Thank you for the cat ears. Okay. With the cutter and power bot, and how do I go to inventory? Q. Cut array equipped. Should be able to put it on now. Oh, it's on a radio menu. So if I press A, no. There we go. Hold mouse, hold middle mouse.
You'll need it for harvesting resources. Using it to cut open ships is an added benefit.
I've seen somebody do that before, so I know how to use these.
The captain's room is blocked by a pentashield. You'll need a pentashield key to pass through. See if there's another way forward.
Analysis mode? I need a bigger
Ready
desk.
your weapon, Offworlder. The guards won't hesitate. Neither should you.
Blade attacks, continue. No problem.
Parry your opponents just as their
Ow,
strikes
ow,
reach you.
ow.
This should stagger them, giving you a window of
Parry, hold,
opportunity.
block. I'm trying. Come on. It's a little fast, and once she gets the combo, I can't stop it. I've never been one to parry very much, so I haven't played Liza P or Sekiro. Can I kill you now? Okay, okay. I got some bandages which I need to use. I feel parched. Can go through there now. Left alt. Some attacks cause you to be staggered. Water. Can I drink more? Yes. Well, your stamina is below 1/3. You have decreased stamina. Hold to slow blade attack a staggered enemy.
A swift attack can force your enemy off balance, but only a slow blade penetrates a shield.
You're dead.
Excuse me.
That's the pentashield key. Once you equip it, you can pass through the shield. Get to the captain and activate that transmitter. I'll be there soon.
Gaming. I don't like the melee combat as much. I'll definitely be using guns.
We only need the leader.
It's a little laggy, sorry about that. All these ornithopters loaded in. Little framey.
I hear I'm a wanted man.
Oi! Woodland scum! I vet jo man tukta lasto brev ada hum un valo arsund. De dia abada.
Is this guy Sardukar? Is that why he has the mask? The Sardukar are like the Spartans. Except in the book, they're also like prisoners. Nice kill, nice kill.
The Thopter will have the codes to get us through the barrier. Ever fly an ornithopter? It's simple enough. But my leg is bad and I won't be able to work the pedals. Get ready. They'll be on us as soon as we break through.
Honestly, even with the dragonfly wings, it's probably safer than a helicopter is. Those things are dangerous.
They won't follow.
I was listening to some other streamer talk like, well, let's see what happens. Like, oh, but some actor from Lord of the Rings refused to take a helicopter up in the mountains for those scenes. Because there's like so many celebrities who've died to helicopter crashes.
Get up, Off-Worlder. I couldn't wait for you. But now you need to run. The sandworm is coming. Run! Now!
I was gonna play the Path of Exile League tomorrow, but if we have, how do I middle mouse? If my dad bought Dune Awakening and there's family share on it. So what are we doing now? What's the quest? Just free roam? If we have Dune Awakening, I might play this instead.
Catch your breath.
It's just Path of Exile. It's the same thing every time.
Took us far off course. My leg is bad. I need to lay low and treat it before it gets worse. But fear not, Offworlder. Noctua can cover the ground between us with little effort. She will be my eye in the sky.
First trial of blood extractor.
And keep you on this side of the grave. Figure out how to craft yourself some clothing. That Maula outfit won't cut it out here.
Okay. Some clothing, makeshift clothing. And that's the only clothing, yeah. Research. Bundle contains crafting, just takes plant fiber. Gloves, pants, shoes, jacket, scrap metal knife, power pack, cut array. Takes like a few seconds each. Just double click. The Mala stuff is the stuff we started with.
The War of Assassins has left debris scattered all over this sector. Salvage metal from the wreckage with your cut array, and use it to make a Maula pistol and darts. Don't let the Imperial disdain for ranged weapons lead you astray.
From the helicopter?
Very few people are foolhardy enough to use shields this deep in the sands, and that is to your advantage.
Let's see what's around here. It looks like there's a base. Somebody built a base here. 2 people built a base here. What wreckage? Because I thought the worm ate the ornithopter that we came in on. Where's my stamina? Do I not have stamina out of combat, maybe? I think it's the yellow bar. Yeah, the ornithopter is gone. Can get more rocks. Granite. Maybe make a base to start off with, but you have to analyze it, then cut it. Don't miss any part of it, because it'll take a while if you don't. Okay, it seems like I missed a part of it. Oh, there we go. No access. Oh, there's some wreckage. Remember, I have ads every 30 minutes because it's to catch the people who just pop in. If it becomes too annoying, just let me know. It's half the amount of time for each ad. Just twice an hour instead of once an hour. Lucky you. Okay, research the Mala pistol kit. I have to get out of the sun. Okay, that's probably good enough. Mala pistol kit. Okay, salvage metal. And I don't know, I'll make... How many is this? I'll make 2. Okay. There has to be a better way to open the radial menu. How many ammo? I have 60, okay. Okay, I've got a pistol, craft light darts 90. Let's look at the map before we go anywhere. Obviously the nearest place is over to the right. Checkpoint, objective. Okay, we'll just head towards the objective. We don't have much of a need for... Can we get across here without the worm coming after us? On-screen icon will let you know if you have a negative effect. Sorry, get off my screen. I'm trying to not get sunstroke. Oh my god, I barely didn't make it. It's going down though. Character status, hold. Need all this metal scrap. The bar in the center of the screen shows vibrations. They will attract the sandworm. When it turns red, the sandworm is nearby. Cannot drink. You can only drink from the plants when you're at the lowest level of thirst. There's some ore, some iron. Copper. Okay, the copper can be useful. I see another player, but the PvP is only in specific zones. It's definitely not at the beginner zone. I'm going the wrong way. Can I fall without taking damage? I'm pretty sure I'll take damage. Oh, the store's open. I wonder if they have their stuff on access to everybody. Sub-Fief console, claim ownership? Claim ownership? Should I just claim ownership? I claimed ownership. Well, if they come back, they'll be able to take it back, I'm sure. Nothing in the storage. Fuel power generator. I should probably just progress the story instead of trying to do stuff here. This is probably just somebody's starter base that they wanted to just get acquainted with the building, and then they moved on. I'm running low on water though. I'll just have to subsist on dew plants. I like the atmosphere. This must be where I need to go. Research the respawn beacon. Craft a respawn beacon. Construction. Binoculars respawn beacon.
This used to be Fremen territory, but the War of Assassins and the Sardaukar pogrom put an end to that. Now the sector is crawling with scavengers, fighting over the scraps of Imperium technology left in the wake of this so-called noble war. But that's to your advantage, Offworlder. Allow them to do the hard work.
Okay, I interrupted the guy.
Observe this valley, sacred to the Equan Bedouin. Here, Wooly faced the trials of Akul, proving their knowledge of the Fremen ways. Find the Fremen, she said. Seven tests, 7 steps. Set your feet. Follow the uncertain path. Keep moving.
Some scary imagery. I hope you're not sensitive to this. Hope nobody's as sensitive to it. Okay. You have experienced a spice dream. On awaken, you are protected from harm for a short journey. Should I inhale it again, or is this the same cutscene? Or is this what I'm supposed to do? I'll skip it if it's the same thing. Is this the same thing? No, okay. So these are supposed to be the trials. There's 7 trials. I would have started streaming earlier, but I was having so much trouble getting this game set up. I had to update my BIOS, and it like ruined my computer for a second.
Our God gave us the burning eyes of Allat and the words of the Kitab al-Ibar. Rest in black shade. Bila kaif.
Good thing he was a little forgiving and didn't catch us right away. I need to stop. And when I was playing Monster Hunter, I was referring to all the monsters as he, but they could have been female monsters. I'm just trying to get away from generalizing everything as a he in the neutral form of a. If it's like a video game character, I do that. Oh shit, I didn't see you there. I didn't see you there. I can't run? You can speed through this a little bit.
We were made to suffer. Our children taken amidst
Oh shit. Come on. Come on. I'm just a little guy. I don't know how to get through there. Oh no. Oh well. Oh, there's like a platform here that you're supposed to hang under. Maybe? Yeah, he can't see you right here. So I did it again. I called him a he. It can't see you. I think it's an it. Hold on, wait here. Wait, I'm under. Okay, okay.
The weight of a kindly God is a fearful thing. Did not God give us the burning sun to defy? Suffering leads to defiance. And where does defiance lead?
I made it, I made it.
Even the timer
One cycle, one cycle.
leads to thought. Who is it that thinks? Those who suffer. Remember Harmon Pep. Be like Haifa.
I didn't hear a word she said.
Ibn Qutayba. Defiance leads to thought. Who is it that thinks? Those who
To
suffer.
suffer,
Remember Harmontep. Be like Haifa.
awaken. Long night after inhaling spice. Spice literally is like magic though. It gives you like psychic powers.
Still there, off-worlder. Your signal drifted for a moment. No matter. A thought occurs. When the Sardaukar began their purge, many Fremen were slaughtered. The ones that were not abandoned their caves, leaving valuable resources behind. Valuable resources that just might contain the makings of a steel suit. Take what you need. Their ghosts will not object.
Wait, in here? Research the binoculars, scout for... Okay, research the binoculars. Craft binoculars. Moisture sealed caves. Where is it telling me a moisture sealed cave is? Not here. Not here, but it tells you where what all the resources are here. This is my home base though. So I will respawn over there. Go for a scavenger camp using binoculars. I know there's some over here. So I'll come out over here. It's nighttime at least. Oh, Jesus. I can climb like this. Took a little damage. Okay, I got the mission objective. Use your ability. How do I use my ability? It's probably middle stick. No, it's Q. It looks like it's Q. I dropped something. I dropped like a mine. That was awful. I'm still getting used to it.
Obvious you've had some training, off-worlder, but nothing can truly prepare you for what the desert has in store. Hone your skills and harden yourself to the violence you must do to survive.
I should collect some blood.
This will sharpen you.
Basic exsanguination kit. Small blood sac. I don't know, probably make a couple of these. Okay, open skills menu. 7. Where's his corpse? I did it again, didn't I? Doo-doo. Skills menu, so the Sentinel that was my ability. A suspensor buoy dart projector that uses motion detector. So a turret. Okay. We'll take care of that later. Is there no items on these guys? I killed 3 of them. There's a bit of spread if you keep shooting. Okay. Just easy mobs. Sorry, just take all. I'm low on water. Overcome shield enemies, use poison or fire or concentrated fire. I need water. You guys have water? I don't have to use a melee attack, do I? I do? I'm low on water. You guys have to have something. I need to find water before anything else. Let's just get to the top of this thing. I'm about to die. Don't I have heals? I had heals. I had heals on my hotbar, but they're not there anymore. I'm about to die. B craft. Can you just show me where the heals are? That's what I need to craft. Heal kit. Then we'll probably have to like drink blood or something. 6. 8. The other ones aren't full. Okay, that gave me some water. I can pick this up again. Up there. I want to get all the loot. Okay. Oh shit! That was embarrassing. She was one hit. My exsanguinator. My blood extractor. Nothing else up here. I'm almost out of ammo as well. I gotta craft more ammo. I can't believe they don't have weapons and ammo for me. It's almost daytime. Is that the most of what's around here? We'll head back to base soon. I definitely gotta find some water. There was a blood machine back at base. Hold E.
Identify yourself.
I don't have any more heals. Maybe I should run. But they got blood on them. Just craft some heals real quick. Would you please put those in my inventory bar? Well, they were dropping ammo. Okay, we got enough for now. I'm gonna head back to base and probably take a break. Okay, that's on my blood. It's creating water. Fuel cell. Unit uptime 21 minutes. Okay. Manage door. Associate, close automatically. Guild, public. Co-owner, owner. Associate, okay. Permissions list is just me. Okay. I'm gonna take a break and use the restroom. I'll be back. I'm back. Should have some water made. Nice. Can I drink more? Or is that it? Yeah. Copper ingot. Let's see what we have to craft. How many points do I have? I don't see it. I can make the still suit. Or maybe not yet. Micro sandwich fabric. Okay, we'll have to get some of that. Blood purifier. We have everything we need. A new, better gun would be better. General fabricator. There's not one in our base already. Is that me? Basic construction kit. I probably need that. Surveying kit. Bike Mark 1. Mental calculus assassination tactician.
Without a still tent, you're easy prey to the sandstorms that sweep across the desert. Those storms tear flesh from bone and shred metal like paper. Unless you'd like to share a cave with some scavengers, your best bet is to build your own shelter. Build a construction tool and place out a sub-fief console. You'll be claiming a portion of the planet's surface for your very own, or rather borrowing it from the Emperor. I'm a little hazy on the specifics.
How do I equip this? Can I only have 2 equipped? Yeah, it seems so. I'd rather have the poison. And I would like to redo my hotbar. So, let's see. The heal kit, the scrap metal knife. 1, 2, 3, it's a little confusing. 1 should be my gun. 2 should be my knife. 3 is the cutter. The respawn beacon. 4 should be heals. Binoculars can be 8. Blood extractor 5. Maybe a blood sac on this one, 6. Sims cutter. This is Imperial permits. Research schematic. Okay, and we should put some stuff away. We have money. Max 117 volume. 13 out of 35 slots. Deposits, deposit, 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 deposit. I don't know, should I keep my money with me? Probably not. But let me make sure this is locked. Owner. No more blood. A drink. Okay, we're almost full. So we need micro sandwich plastic, which is like right here. Or here. I wish I had a mini map. Ow. Right here. Knife.
Reveal yourself. Found them. Help!
I didn't know you were charging at me. I poisoned myself. They had plant fiber on them, okay. I need to craft healing, heal kit. These cost plant fiber, make 3.
Who's that? Got them.
Okay, shoot to kill. It's kind of fun. We can head back and craft. Let me see. Can we make it now? Research. Is this not research? Works with general fabricator and garment fabricator. Requires plant fiber. But we should go back and make that right away. There should be way more planets in the background of this. Can I climb faster? Not really. Not yet, at least. Need to make my fabricator. Where's my construction gun? Construction tool. Put it there. Well, we don't need this. What am I building? Too close to another sub-thief. Oh, this is the sub-thief. E to switch. Fabricator. It's too big for this base. We'd have to expand. Inside land claim. Okay. We have multiple floors. How do I get up here? Oh, I see. Here's the fabricator. No, it's not here. I need plant fiber. Hold up. Primary source caves. I should be able to craft it. It's not here. I don't get it. Hmm. Should we have a lot left? Most of it is locked. Oh, maybe I have to enter. Maybe I have to put it in the machine or something? Storage, fiber. And where's the other one? Micro sandwich fabric. No. I'll look it up. How to craft still suit Dune Awakening. You have to use a garment fabricator. It can't be a regular fabricator, even though it says it can. Garment fabricator. Doesn't seem like we have that. It's way down in steel products. Well, we'll need this. We can at least make the scavenger rags. Plasteel microflora fabricator. Fabric. Wait, hold on. Oh, it's here. It's just not under essentials, my bad. Okay. just wait for that. I'm playing my other game, my Astro Empires. Okay, give me all that stuff. Don't tell me these are bad armor. Armor value 8 compared to 8. Okay, it's the same. But now we will save on water. Reduce durability loss, sure. We probably need the survey probe. Is it not? Oh, you can't. I was holding it when you have to press it. Mechanical parts plus 0. I probably want a better knife. A better gun would be good. Primary source shipwrecks. Let's just wait until we get that. But mitigates hydration loss. So suits collect water in 2 backspace catch packets. This water can be consumed to restore hydration. Okay, and we've got some water in there. Okay. Let's put our stuff away. Don't really need the respawn beacon. EMF generator. Oh, this is full. This is full already. 6. Construction. That's exactly what I want to build. Blood bag. Oh, we have some blood. Need more ammo as well. My dad will be getting on to play after me, so it'd be nice to have some stuff for him. Let's see. Copper ore and granite. Not much here. Do we need that intel? This must be uncrossable land. We'll need the bike to get across the big expanses. Which needs advanced servox. Particle capacitor. Maybe we have to run. Because I don't see servox on the map. Okay, we'll figure it out. We have a better gun available. Just the Karpov. It requires mechanical parts, so we do have to go somewhere else. Let's fill up on water. I need ammo. These cost salvage metal. Could really bring some stuff with me. Does this take that much space in my inventory? Split the stack. Really just north. They want me to salvage fuel cells. Need to sit in the shade. Is that the worm? Oh my god. That was scary. I got scared. I don't need to climb all the way up here. Okay, I thought it would mark something. It doesn't. I'm losing water fast. Someone might have been here recently. It's hard to tell. Oh good, another heal kit. I was double clicking the item and I shot.
Collins has been acting real strange since finding that corpse with the Telexu satchel. I don't trust him. Keep an eye out next time you're out on a salvage run. If he starts acting weird, dart him.
There's supposed to be a secret somewhere behind these bookshelves. Water.
Welcome to Desert Botanical Testing Station number 2. I am the station supervisor, Dr. Rommel Greer. The ultimate mission of these stations is to find or engineer botanical species capable of thriving in the extremely arid conditions of Arrakis. A true challenge, as I'm sure any visitor who has traveled through the barren rocks and sand above will agree. Our first task has been the installation and testing of wind trap units, capable of reclaiming moisture from the atmosphere. I'm pleased to report complete success.
Give me your blood. Where did the other one die? This is a cool little dungeon.
Who are you leaving these messages for, eh? It's for the worms, isn't it? Yeah, the worms. Oh, yeah, your belly, it was full of worms, those big, red, throaty worms. But I let them out, didn't I?
Particle combustor, advanced servox. Exactly what I was looking for the bike. Nice shots. Ah! That scared the hell out of me. There were two of them. No compatible container. Can I make a blood bag? Yes. Make a couple. Directly from the crotch. That's where all the blood accumulates. I wish it was a single button to take all. I don't like having to hold down the button. I think there's one more. Plenty of ammo. More Servox. No more water. Need more blood. More blood bags.
Beneath the hill where the fox runs lightly, a dappled sun shines brightly. Where the fox runs lightly.
You can't hide from me, little bird. Where are you?
Beneath the hill in the fennel brake. Spy, my love, who cannot wake. Go away! Go away!
There's the little bird. Gotcha!
We gotta be coming up near the end of this soon. Good loot. Imperial testing station records. Particle capacitor, suspensor belt. I haven't found any fuel cells for my quest. No compatible container. Where's my blood bags? I'm out of plant fiber. Okay, I can make one more. Good loot. Okay. Oh, I can use poison as well to defeat the shield enemies. Jeez, this place is so going, huh? Good thing I emptied my inventory.
His selection. Return the remaining items to Bijaz at once. Exercise all due caution in the handling of these items, as the bioagents contained within are unstable and may prove extremely hazardous.
Yeah. So then he comes in here saying, "Hey, boss, what's that weird smell?" That weird smell? Just like that he does. Just like that, yeah? Yeah, and then he says, "What's wrong with the plants in here? They look sick. Maybe we should trim them back." That's what he said. He said that. Those exact words, that's what he said. He said, "Trim them back. Trim them back." Oh, yeah.
Emperor's Ring Wings Mark 1.
I trimmed him back. Oh, yeah. I trimmed him back real good.
It's a permit to build something. I don't actually have it. Power packs are nice.
Collins and Omar from Broken Land Trek. 2 Doomans still suits. Full of holes, stained, sun-bleached, junked. One Atreides House Trooper rucksack. Serviceable. Omar will keep. 1 Telexu-made satchel with several vials. Opened the vial, but it was empty. Smelled bad. Junked. 3 Thumpers. Fared to poor condition. Selling windsack.
Okay, we made it out of there.
Botanical testing station number 2. I am the station supervisor, Dr. Rommel.
That was a lot of good loot. Good thing we did that. Oh, but can we get down here? How do you get in there? No. Cool little dungeon. They obviously wanted you to go here. So we'll see if the other dungeons are just as good. Let's head back and deposit our stuff. Wouldn't be a bad idea to build a base over here. Just because it's hard to get across the long byway. Ooh, there's like a carrier ship over there. Hopefully they're not looking for me. Yeah, like that one over there is searching. Shit, it turned red. I got scared. Jesus Christ, it almost got me. Every time I cross there. Where's my base? Okay, home sweet home. Getting a little framey though. Okay, we need... I don't like that it's so easy to press C or Q while I'm doing this. 6. Utilities. Refinery storage. There must be a button, like move all. Still need another one. So what do we have? A sandbag PSU, advanced servox, particle capacitor. Can split this. Deposit that. Copper ore. Lead bag. Money. I have to organize. Excuse me, I sneezed. We'll need all of this when we make another page. We don't have that much intel though. We didn't get everything that we need. I think we gotta unlock all this stuff. Cost 2. Okay. A total uptime 6 days. I've been stuck on this salvage fuel cells quest for a while. Welding wire. Repairing vehicles. Provides power to equipment, binoculars. Yeah. Can't do much else unless I explore, I guess, and find more. Imperial testing station, Aran's refuge. Oh, and there's a checkpoint over there. Is that part of the dungeon we just did? Hecka Basin South. I'm having fun. We just gotta go out again. I don't know if I want to keep going. I'll think about it. It's pretty late for me. It's midnight. I usually take my medicine right now. I need a surveying drone to unlock the map. Eastern Vermilius Gap. I also need to drop a survey drone, a survey probe. Did we unlock that? Yes, we did. Copper ingot and EMF generator. What time is 8 UTC? From a high altitude to map out worthwhile information. Well, that seems pretty high. Fully reveal an area on the map. When did I get these wings? Okay, that's much better. Wreck of the Alcyon. I guess I should get the intel at all these places. Griffins reach trade outpost. And what, nothing else in the other places? And not much of anything around here. I'd have to go way north. A nice base right there. Oh, I'm losing water from being up here. Oh, come on. That scared me. How do I drink from my still suit? Worm attraction intensity extreme. Nobody's really gotten this far, huh? Communinet? Radio stations? Okay, that could be fun. How do I drink? This is my volume of water, isn't it? Skills. Every time you repair, you miss the maximum durability damage the repair would cause. Headshot damage increase. Kinda sick. Can't learn much else. Still need fuel cells. I wish I'd have done that earlier. Completable by a party member. Sandworm breach. Somebody just got killed by a sandworm. It's pretty fun. I'd like to play with my father. It'd be more fun with other people. You can climb on the roof. Anyway, I'm running out of water. Get out of here. I have more blood. One's not full, is it? I thought I had more blood. I made a lot of blood sacks. I think I'll take a break for now. It was fun. It was fun for sure. We'll take a break from streaming and we'll get back at it tomorrow with either Path of Exile or Dune. Okay, take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.